An American flag blows in the wind. A family strolls down a path through a park, an old man leading the way with his children and grandchildren following behind. He stops and looks up at the American flag and the flag of France blowing in the wind, side by side. With tears in his eyes, he steps into the Normandy American Cemetery, filled with many rows of white cross headstones for all the fallen soldiers. He reaches a particular headstone and collapses, sobbing. His family surrounds him and tries to comfort him. American military boats ride through the rough ocean on June 6, 1944. Captain John Miller drinks water from his canteen, his hands shaking. Some soldiers vomit in the boat. Captain Miller begins to shout his orders at his men as they approach the shore. The German enemy has posts set up all along the coast above the shore and begins to launch missiles at the American boats. Private Daniel Jackson kisses his crucifix necklace and prays. As the boat gets closer to the shore, many men are shot by German machine guns, falling off the boat and sinking into the ocean. Many soldiers try to save one another and themselves, but the Germans are able to take out many men before the Americans can even climb out of their boats. Bullets continue to fire and bombs strike and blow limbs off. Captain Miller is frozen in shock as he watches so many of his men die, get their limbs blown off and be lit on fire from missiles. With nowhere else to go, he commands his men off the shore and they begin to run towards land. As more soldiers continue to get hit by German missiles, grenades and bullets, the American men gather all the weapons and ammo they can off the fallen soldiers. The Americans throw a few grenades at the German bunkers, killing many German men. They are able to make it closer to the edge of the shore and take cover behind a bunker. Captain Miller commands his men to target a German post that has a machine gun, and Private Jackson takes it out. Through this post, the men are able to climb up off the shore and onto German territory. German soldiers begin to surrender and put their hands up in defeat, but the Americans continue to shoot and kill them. Private Adrian Capazzo finds a Hitler Youth knife and hands it to his close friend, Private Stanley Mellish, who is Jewish. He breaks down in tears as he holds the knife, hands still shaking. Captain Miller takes a sip of his canteen. They look over the land after killing the Germans and see hundreds of American soldiers strewn across the shore of Normandy, dead. One fallen soldier on the shore wears a backpack, stamped with the name Ryan. In an office, many women sit at typewriters writing death letters to the families of the soldiers that have been killed in the war. One particular woman reads through 3 letters in shock and brings them over for her boss to examine. With the same shock, the man brings them to a captain, who then brings it to the attention of George C. Marshall, Chief of Staff of the US Army. Sean Ryan, Peter Ryan, and Daniel Ryan have died in the war, and their mother is to receive all 3 of these death letters today. Her 4th son, James Ryan, is in Normandy and may have survived. George Marshall orders a mission to find Private James Ryan and deliver him home to his mother. The Ryan's mother receives the 3 letters of death that day. Captain John Miller gets assigned the mission to find Private James Ryan and to send him home to his mother. Knowing he will have to search much of France to find him, he recruits Corporal Timothy Upham, who has never been in combat but can speak French and German fluently. They set off to complete the mission with the rest of Miller's troop. All soldiers are reluctant and do not understand having to risk each of their 8 lives for one man, but it is their duty as soldiers, and the mission comes first. It starts to rain as the men approach a village where they can hear gunfire. They enter the village and run into another troop of American soldiers. They make their way through the village together, which is in shambles from the aftermath of war. Buildings have collapsed and there is rubble everywhere. They come across a French family a wife, husband, and 2 children hiding out in their broken apartment. Private Adrian Capazzo grabs the little girl, who reminds him of his niece, and as he attempts to save her, he gets shot by an enemy sniper hiding in a tower. All the men hide behind rubble, and Private Daniel Jackson shoots the assassin with his sniper. Private Adrian Capazzo dies from his gunshot wound. The soldiers continue to make their way through the village and decide to hole up in a building for rest. Staff Sergeant Hill leans up against a post that falls and breaks through a wall, revealing a troop of German soldiers holed up behind the wall. They have a standoff, and the Germans are shot. A man named Private Ryan is found amongst the soldiers at the village, and Miller's troops think their mission has come to an end. It is revealed that they have the wrong Ryan, and their mission continues. They hole up in a church to get some rest. John's hands keep shaking, but the troops head back out into the night. The next day, they run into more American soldiers in a field along with a crashed helicopter, many wounded men, and 22 dead men. Still on the search for Ryan, Miller and his troop go through a bag of dog tags of fallen men, searching to see if James Ryan's tag is inside. As an airborne squad goes by, visibly upset by the men joking as they search through the tags, the captain starts shouting James Ryan's name. He finds a man who is friends with James Ryan and finds out he has gone to a village called Ramel. The troops start again on their journey, heading straight for Ramel. They approach a radar site, see many dead men laying on the ground, and suspect a machine gun must be at the site. Captain Miller comes up with a plan for the men to ambush the site and take out the machine gun. The men run towards the machine gun, shooting their guns and throwing grenades. They take down the machine gun and a few German soldiers. Medic Erwin Wade gets shot in the liver and dies. The captain walks away from the group and breaks down and sobs. The troops find another German soldier and they beat him. They make the German soldier help bury the dead bodies. The Corporal Upham begins to help him and gives him a cigarette. When the rest of the troop approaches, the German starts to plead for his life, surrendering and apologising for Wade's death. After much arguing amongst the troops, Captain Miller lets him go. Private Richard Ryburn gets angry, threatening to leave the group. Sergeant Mike Horvath pulls a gun on him. Captain Miller stops the commotion by telling the group about himself, that he is a school teacher who teaches English composition. As the troop buries Wade, Private Richard Ryburn begins to leave, but ultimately decides to stay and helps the troops with the burial. They continue on their mission, and as they walk through a field, they hear the rumbling of a tank approaching. They take cover and the tank is shot with a bazooka. German soldiers climb out and they shoot the men. 3 men, part of the 101st Division, have been hiding in the grass and come out to face Miller's troop. One of the 3 men is Private James Francis Ryan. Both troops walk to the 101st Division's village of Ramel. Private Ryan finds out that all of his brothers were killed in combat and that Miller's troops have orders to bring him home. He refuses to leave his post and abandon his men. Upon learning that 2 men have died to find him and bring him home on the mission, he again refuses to abandon his men, unsure of why he should get to leave when all men have been fighting the war. Captain Miller is faced with the decision to leave Ryan behind or stay and fight alongside the men in the war. Sergeant Mike Horvath supports the decision to stay, convincing Miller that all men will get to go home if they can protect the critical post of Ramel. Captain Miller decides that his post will stay and fight alongside Private Ryan. Captain Miller and the troops come up with a plan to be ready for an ambush by the Germans, rigging the town with sticky bombs and strategically placing men in hideout spots. Private Jackson as a sniper in a high tower, troops on the ground, Private Upham in charge of ammo, and 2 soldiers in a small tank to bait the Germans into Ramel. Private Ryan sticks by Captain Miller's side on his orders as the men wait it out, exchanging stories about their lives at home. they begin to hear rumbling in the distance. Private Jackson, in the tower, sees 4 tanks, infantry, and a little over 50 men. The 2 men on the small tank ride off to bait the Germans, and the rest of the troops get into their positions. The baiters in the smaller tank come back into the village, the German tanks approaching slowly behind them. A tank turns and makes its way through the middle of Rommel, just as the Americans hoped. The men watch the Germans come forward, waiting patiently until they get to the perfect spot. Bombs go off, and the machine gun starts unloading on the Germans. They light their sticky bombs and set them off, and the tank begins to shoot at the Americans. They light more bombs and hit men in the tanks. Captain Miller's troops begin to run out of bullets, and Private Jackson in the tower is shot. 2 soldiers hiding in a building run out of ammo and call out for Upham. Corporal Upham freezes in place, unable to move and give ammo to the soldiers. Both soldiers are killed by Germans as Upham sits crying on the stairs. A German soldier walks right past him. As more German tanks and men fall into Rommel, the Americans decide it is time to fall back to the bridge. The Germans keep storming them, and the tank begins to cross the bridge. Captain stands up and tries to walk towards their last bomb, but gets shot in the chest. He collapses at the end of the bridge and shoots at the tank with his handgun. After a couple of shots, it explodes, and a jet that shot the tank flies overhead. More jets come into view, swarming the Germans and saving the day. Corporal Upham comes out of the ditch he has been hiding in and kills the German that they once let go. Captain Miller dies. Private Ryan, Corporal Upham, and Private Richard Reiben are the only survivors from the troop. Taken back to the first scene, the old man standing at the tombstones is Private James Ryan. He kneels at the grave of Captain John H. Miller. His family stands behind him. Speaking to the grave, he hopes he has earned what all of the soldiers sacrificed for him. He salutes the grave of Captain John Miller, who died in 1944.